Hey, welcome back. So, at least it's not 2 in the morning. I'm actually making this recording fairly early for me. You'll probably get more road noise than normal. I do apologize, but if you watch my channel and you know what I do, I'm normally down here doing my commentary in my garage. I do have a couple other places, but I can sit here and it's not as hot. Keep in mind, I am in the Philippines, and the heat is a factor out here. I wanted to talk about a few things as I'm following this war in Ukraine and Russia, and the escalation and the nonstop media coverage, and all the information that's available from all the different channels. It's amazing to watch a war unfold in real time, with videos of the events happening in real time, with daily casualties and daily kilometers taken, and having this all lumped together. It's kind of unique. I imagine Vietnam and Korea, things would happen, you wouldn't even know about it for weeks. Here, if an Iranian suicide drone that was given to Russia bombs a city outside of Kyiv, we know about it in 20 minutes and we can see the video of it. It's good, but at the same time, I'm getting overloaded with a lot of stuff. I'm not a military guy, but I can follow along pretty good, and what I'm seeing tells me that Russia's getting its ass handed to it, and Putin's being backed in the corner. I don't know what the guy's going to do, right? So, he's already said that the U.S. set precedents with using nuclear weapons when they bombed Japan at the end of World War II, and the U.S. did, right? So it ended the war, and Putin's point is, hey, if I use a battlefield tactical nuke somewhere in Ukraine, hopefully not anywhere else, then maybe everyone would just quit and leave me alone and let me do what I want. And who knows, right? The U.S. strongly said that no, that's not the case. We might not respond with nuclear weapons, but we'll wipe out everything you have in the Baltic Sea and every military component you have in Ukraine and Crimea. And the U.S. can do that quite easily. I'm fairly confident. But if the U.S. does that, then it's going to be a de facto World War III, right? Now let's add some of the other regions that are saber-rattling and doing some crazy things. North Korea, yeah, okay, fine, they fired another missile. You know what? These guys feel like if they're not getting enough media attention, they need to do something just to rattle their sabers. I'm not even worried about any kind of conflict there at all. Taiwan, on the other hand, came out today and said, if any drone or Chinese aircraft enters their space, technically their airspace is what they're saying, they will consider that a first strike. All right? So I guess they're tired of bitching and sending, complaints to China saying, hey, every week you keep sending your military planes into our space. We don't like it. And China says tough shit, and they keep doing it. So making a declaration that they consider it a first strike, does that put China on warning? Is China going to care? China's struggling, right? They're having their own internal issues with the economy and a lot of other things going on there. And they're obviously watching how NATO responded to the help they're giving Ukraine against the aggression of Russia. I'm almost positive if NATO didn't step in, then China would have took that as a sign to just stomp on Taiwan. And so I know he's watching this stuff. But I'm concerned about other areas in the world as well, right? So Turkey is saber-rattling with Greece over some of the islands that were settled in the 1942 treaty, right? So Greece, on paper, owns and in reality occupies these islands. Now, Turkey and Greece have been going back and forth for a couple years, tit for tat over shit. Your military bases on your islands are too close to our stuff, and et cetera. And Greece has military bases on the islands that they own, and it is close to Turkey, right? So I don't see where it's illegal or wrong, and I don't know what Turkey can really do about it. But Turkey just signed an agreement with Libya that will allow them to build oil exploration platforms in the Mediterranean Sea area close to a lot of the islands owned by Greece, especially Crete, for example. And they're just pushing they want the oil that's in the Mediterranean. Libya really had no say in it. I don't know why Libya was there to sign the agreement. The agreement should have been signed with Greece, but Greece won't. So if they move forward and start putting exploration rigs, whether temporary or permanent, out in the Mediterranean within the maritime waters of Greece, what does that provoke, right? So Turkey is just an insane situation, right? Erdogan right now knows he's got a little bit of a juice he can squeeze. He's the main intermediary between Ukraine and Russia in their conflict. And he's also a voting member in NATO. So NATO's going to want Sweden and Finland to be approved to join NATO. And Arwen has the veto power. So the U.S. is kind of kid gloves around him until that vote, or those two votes are done. And then he's just a negotiator between Russia and Ukraine, and who knows how that's going to go. So I think he's just flexing his muscle right now in the Mediterranean. But the possibility of a conflict there has always been an issue, right? They've almost come to blows twice in the last 15 years, and then U.S. had to intervene and mediate and get everybody to calm down. And even quiet countries, like Japan is telling Russia, hey, stay out of these contested islands in the north of Japan that Russia and Japan have been fighting over since World War II, honestly, I believe. So everybody's rattling their sabers. Everyone's, taking a moment to say, I'm strong too, when a lot of people are really just weak. Everybody's weak right now. The U.S. certainly isn't strong. Everyone puts on a front face. Russia is weak, and it's because everyone can see what's happening militarily-wise. But if you talk to Russians or you watch Russian bloggers, most Russians, before mobilization, didn't care that Russia invaded Ukraine. They're like, oh, okay, we stay out of politics. They take care of us and we let them do what they want. They had that kind of attitude. They really just didn't care. And it didn't hit home to them. The sanctions didn't honestly, excuse me. Sorry about the noise, guys. So the sanctions didn't really bother them that much. Mobilization sure did. All of a sudden, they're not happy with their government, and they're more curious about what's going on. I watched some of the commentary from some of the Russians, and they truly have no idea what's happening in the world today. So, here I am in the Philippines, which I think is going to be a pretty safe place if World War III breaks out, to be honest with you. There's no major targets here for any countries that are fighting. Sure, China wants the South China Sea, but if World War III breaks out, they're going to be focused on Taiwan and everything around that, right? They're going to take that as their first prize before they even worry about the South China Sea at all. So it's going to be interesting if World War III rolls out. And I'm not sure how you call a war, right? I think it's pretty damn close when enough people are fighting and have alliances with enough people. The world's at war, right? So we're not even talking about all the stuff going on in Africa and, some of the other countries where they've just been fighting nonstop and it doesn't even make the news anymore. So World War III, again, it's on my mind. I don't think it's going to happen right away, and hopefully it won't happen at all, but it will for sure happen if Putin launches a battlefield nuke of any kind, because that will bring NATO and the U.S. forces into play, which will be a direct attack against Russian, and then the Russians will declare war against U.S., and then we get in a whole mess, right? So are we going to keep it fighting where, right? So how's Russia going to attack U.S.? Are they going to San Diego, whatever that island's called, or Guam? That's not beneficial to them that much. It would help China, but not Russia. Are they going to attack Russia and NATO interests in Poland, Germany, Sweden, Finland, possibly? But then all these guys are ready to mobilize. Now, I know that if we go to World War III, Belarus is going to jump right in on Russia's side. They have no choice. They've already played their cards. So they're probably going to be the first ones that try to do something in Poland or the northern Ukraine area. And Ukraine understands this. They've been beefing up and training heavy on their northern border with Belarus, as they should be. So, I don't know. You know, I watch a lot of videos of people just having fun and not paying attention. Maybe they just, you know, don't want to hear it, or they think like normal, it's just all going to wash over. But there hasn't been a time like this in the world in a long, long time. Not since I was a little kid, and I didn't understand it at that time. But this is some serious shit going on, military-wise, economic-wise, water and food-wise. All right, fine, food's expensive. And why is it expensive? Because it's expensive to grow. Crops are being wiped out. We just had a big typhoon hit us last week, and the first thing they wanted to tell us is how much rice fields were destroyed, right? So they're telling us get ready for increases in the cost of rice or the unavailability of as much rice as they're used to. Man, I really like filming at 1 in the morning compared to 7 at night. But anyways, add some comments. Am I the only one putting all the pieces together and getting worried? What should I do? I'm in the Philippines. I think I'm going to be safe here no matter what. And I'm out in the countryside in the Philippines. So even if it got really nasty, it wouldn't affect me here. I don't know, folks. You know, just prayer. You know, pray and prepare and hope it's going well. I hope that, honestly, I hope someone puts a bullet in the back of that maniac's head and just ends this whole conflict over there. But that guy's so paranoid, we know that probably won't happen. Ukraine's momentum's not going to slow down. They got about 3 more weeks before winter makes it impossible, and they want to get through to Kherson and get across and cement their hold there and spend the winter fortifying everything. And then meanwhile, during winter, it's going to be nothing but an artillery battle and missile battles back and forth until the ground hardens up again so the tanks and the ground carriers can move again. And I don't think Russia's mobilization is going to get in time to beef up Kherson. I think the Kherson region is going to fall within a week, maybe 2. But anyways, so that's it. That's my rambling about the World War III potential and the culmination of everything that's going on, and the fact that we're seeing this real time compared to 20, 30 years ago when half the stuff happened and already was over before we even knew about it. So if you have any comments, please go ahead and chat with me. I know you're going to comment about the noisy traffic. Someday I'll get to where I'll be upstairs and I'll have a nice sound room up there and work, but it's just not the case right now. So if you did watch the video all the way through, I do appreciate that fact. And if you did watch it all the way through, please hit the like button or a comment so I know you guys like this kind of stuff. If you want to share this with people to help grow my channel, I would appreciate that as well. With that, thank you, and until next time.